What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here. Hope you guys are doing well. The Call of Duty community is really becoming delusional over the current state of both Black Ops 6 and Warzone. It seems as if the apologists will bend themselves into any form they need to continuously glaze this game, while glossing over all of its glaring errors and not holding Activision accountable to their words. It was just a couple weeks ago when they released this massive community update, telling the community everything they wanted to hear. Hey, we're going to work on cheaters. Hey, we're going to make sure the servers are improved. Hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Only for Season 2 to launch and nothing to be improved. Yes, there are some small quality of life improvements on Black Ops 6, and some of the content in Black Ops 6's Season 2 is decent. I'll give credit where it's due. But for the most part, it's a lot of broken promises. It's a lot of Activision not following through on their words, which they are just very well known for doing. They love to say things and never act on them. And for whatever reason, a lot of people do not hold them accountable for it. And the apologists are working overtime recently to try to defend Call of Duty because, yeah, the overall sentiment surrounding this game has become increasingly negative. And why wouldn't it be? But nonetheless, you have people pointing to the sales numbers for Black Ops 6 and upholding that as proof that the game isn't as bad as everyone says it is, and all of the negativity isn't warranted. Yes, that might be a bit hyperbolic, but there are people who truthfully believe this. Just because Call of Duty is the best-selling game in the world, that means all of the problems, all the negativity is null and void. That's right. Nothing about the fact that there's a reason why it was the top-selling game. Maybe because Activision is very good at the marketing for this franchise. And they were very good at showcasing that, hey, Call of Duty is back with Black Ops 6. We have this cool new movement system. Everything's going to be great. And we even have zombies coming back. It's going to be new and improved. You guys are going to love it. And on top of all this, it's going to be the most accessible Call of Duty of all time, with it being on Game Pass day one. That was a massive win for them. Of course it was. But when you start diving into the minutia of it all, and you start to notice things like, hey, you might have sold a lot of copies, but like, how did you do with retaining players? Because it seems like on Steam, you didn't do a very good job with that. So I'm curious about how it works with all of Call of Duty. To which the Glazers will say, well, they're the top played game on both Xbox and PlayStation, without ever taking into account that it's all of Call of Duty HQ. It's Warzone, Black Ops 6, Modern Warfare 3, and Modern Warfare 2. But for whatever reason, we never take that into account. We just glaze them because, hey, they're the most played game. Clearly, the game isn't dying. And man, if I have to see one more time that these glazers, these apologists, these bootlickers bring up the tired argument of the game is dying in a sarcastic voice, or saying, oh, I thought the game was dying, whenever you see these charts, please use an ounce of critical thinking. Nobody actually believes the game is dying. All we're saying is that the game is flawed. And because it's flawed, I don't want to play it. And a lot of people also don't want to play it. The thing is, though, is a lot of people also just play the game casually and don't really care about all of its issues. Their friends play it, so they play it. It's not that hard to understand. But I also think it's important to note that you're not gaining anybody's trust by alienating a good portion of your community, by lying to them consistently, by telling them what they want to hear and never following through with it. This shouldn't be that hard of a discussion to have. But yet so many bootlickers continuously bring up the I thought it was dying argument without ever having the gall to defend it. And I've talked about this before, but like, I see it all the time. And this is what I mean, where I think these people are just straight up delusional. They think all we think about all day long is that Call of Duty sucks. And that's our inherent personality, is that we just think Call of Duty sucks. The only time I talk about Call of Duty sucking is either here on YouTube or when I talk to my friends. Because guess what? Call of Duty is a very, very small portion of my life. And a lot of it is just when I'm online. which isn't all the time at all, versus some of these people now that hear a negative word against Call of Duty and they get personally offended because they've attributed their own personality to this franchise for some reason. And that's why they have to apologize and bootlick for Call of Duty at every single turn, because they can't take the hit to their own ego when people talk negatively about the franchise they love. Like, sometimes all you need to do is step back and realize that, hey, you know what? Maybe I need to look at this more objectively. And that's what I try to do with Black Ops 6. I want to know why people love this game so much, why they defend it so much. And I kind of get it, man. Like, I get it if you have fun with the mechanics of the game. I get it if you enjoy the game because it's a good social outlet for you. That makes sense. Totally understand that. But I can see that, but also see the foundational flaws that the game has. So where's the disconnect here? Why is it that people who have fun with the game can't also notice the flaws of it? And yeah, I'm making a generalization, but stay with me here. Why is it that players who love this game just defend it at all costs instead of ever trying to champion for improvements? Because that's what needs to happen. We all need to come together and work together to get the game in a state where we can all have fun. Wouldn't that be better? And I get it, there'll still be people that'll hate on the game. That's always going to happen. But shouldn't you want more people to enjoy the game, more people to have fun, instead of like existing in this echo chamber of perfection that just is so delusional, it's nonsensical? Like, if there's a game I like, for instance, Dead by Daylight is a game I like. A lot of people in that community are growing to hate it. There are a lot of issues with that game, and I get it. I still have fun regardless, but I'd love for the issues to be fixed so that everybody has more fun, because the last thing I want to do, or the last thing I want to see, pardon me, is that game becoming less and less populated because of the problems persisting. So why is it that I can see it with that game and Call of Duty apologists can't see that with Call of Duty? Take the Steam chart debate, for instance. I have been hearing for the last several months why the Steam chart numbers don't matter. Because it's the least played platform. Because people have moved off of it to go play Game Pass. Because Steam has a bunch of issues right now with Call of Duty. Okay, understandably so. But shouldn't it be shocking that like over 50% of the players that were playing in November are no longer playing at all? Like, can we not acknowledge that that's a bad thing? And regardless of what it is, should we not acknowledge that it's probably happening on some degree on the other platforms as well? Or are we just going to continue to pretend that none of this matters, and the only thing that matters is the console numbers that have no data behind them whatsoever? We don't know how close Fortnite and COD HQ are. We don't know how many players are playing Warzone and playing Black Ops 6 and playing MW3 and playing MW2. We have no idea. We don't know what the trends are on those games because we have no data. And that's on purpose. And I really wish that they started to show us some of the data. But they won't. They like to hide behind it for whatever reason. And then I can go to something like Fortnite.gg and pull up the entirety of Fortnite's players for the last, 2 years almost? And you can look at what works and what doesn't work and understand a little bit more about the player base. But you can't do that with Call of Duty. But somehow I have to believe that nobody's leaving the game whatsoever and that people aren't alienated by the crumbling foundation. This is the problem. We should be able to have these conversations without everything being so black and white. A lot of what's going on with Call of Duty exists in a gray area. And for us to help the game get better so that we can have a more sustainable franchise moving forward, we need to address some of the key issues. We need to be able to talk about them without getting but actually, or I thought the game was dying, or whatever rebuttal these brain dead morons want to throw out there. The conversation needs to shift to become more productive instead of constantly just this infighting that gets us nowhere. And like I've said in the past, this is exactly by design. Call of Duty wants us to be infighting. They want us to be upset with one another because it allows them to continue to skirt past a lot of worthy criticism because no one holds them accountable, or at least like half the players don't. And that's a problem because they deserve to be held accountable. The game should be in a much better state than it is. The franchise as a whole should be in a better state, but it's just not. So that's really the frustration that I've realized over the last few months, or pardon me, the last few weeks. But anyways, that's going to be it for the video today. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed it. If you did, can you please hit that like button? If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I thank you all so much for watching. Leave a comment down below about how you feel with the current state of the Call of Duty community. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.